Hi, I'm Darren.
Hi, I'm Gordon.
And we're the two gay reefers. Hey reefers, today we're finally going to take corals out of the Red Sea and put them back into Reefzilla.
Yay!
Yay! So as everyone knows, we've had this as a quarantine fish only system. We're finally ready to put corals back in. If you come a bit closer, you can see some of the corals we picked up from Scott last week. Thank you so much, Scott. We forgot to actually thank you last week, so thank you so much, Scott. We're going to glue some of these into place. We're going to then take corals out of the Red Sea, start acclimating them, and finally what we're going to do is clean water change on the Red Sea, and then Gordon's going to aquascape it.
Apparently.
Yeah, I only just told him that. So let's get to it. So those that follow our channel, you might also realize we've got our second Radion back over at Reefzilla. This one was the one babysitting the Red Sea over there. We've got a temporary light for the Red Sea. Thank you, Nick. The reason why I'm gluing some corals in first before we start pulling everything out of the Red Sea is mainly because I sort of have a pattern and idea where these sort of foundation corals are going to go, and then when I get the corals from the Red Sea, they're going to sort of like fill in the gaps, and it's just arty-farty stuff really, and it's the way I prefer to do it. And Gordon's shaking his head going, why? So I've actually got some big pieces to go first. We've got our nice big Dallas colony. A nice big dab of glue on that. You need to break the skin of the glue by rubbing it on the rocks. So I'm trying to frag a few pieces as we go because I want to actually put them in more than one place. Okay, so here's the Montipora digitata forest fire.
Said that again 3 times fast.
I know, right? So I'm actually going to snap this in half so I can get a bigger colony. So everything was going well, and we filmed everything, and then we didn't.
I may or may not have deleted some files that I wasn't meant to delete, and then formatted the card.
Yeah, so fortunately we can't show you the rest of what we did, but we'll just do a quick recap anyway. So we pulled out all the corals out of the Red Sea. We acclimated them as well. So we acclimated them using our high technology piece of tubing.
A piece of air tubing tied to a rock with a rubber band and some knots. If anybody out there wants to supply us a acclimating setup, then we can do a review on it. Get us up with our details on it.
Yeah,
but, you know,
we might need one, possibly, I don't know.
Probably eventually.
Need one, possibly, I don't know.
Probably eventually.
But the Red Sea was really, really dirty. It had a lot of this ugly, spongy, brown algae that was just...
And by the time we pulled out all the corals, everything was looking pretty terrible. The glass could barely see the clown. Cleaned out the water, cleaned out the skimmer, cleaned out the filter cups, and within about half a day or so, it was running beautifully clean and crystal clear again.
Yep.
Which is really good.
Yay! So the good thing is with the Red Sea, now we can slowly transition it into Gordon's hands. He's going to be the caretaker of the Red Sea. What have you got planned for it?
So we have mentioned a few times on the channel, but the first things we'll be adding, obviously we've got the 2 clowns in at the moment, which I love those guys, they're so cool. And they're not so pissed off now that we took them away. Next step I think will be an eel of some description, probably a snowflake eel. Definitely got to get a clown trigger. I want to get a little one so I can, not too small, a little one, so I can train him and be friendly with him. Otherwise, I'll put my hand in there, I'll take my finger off. I don't want that. And possibly some sort of lionfish. Darren keeps talking about the Fu Manchu, which will be pretty cool. I haven't decided which lionfish to get, but there's
because we don't have any of that footage that we actually filmed. None of it. Gone. What we're going to do is instead take a nice big long tour of Reefzilla with all the new corals in there, so you can go through and have a close look at what we've got, what's still to come, what's on the frag rack, everything like that. So let's go. So this is Reefzilla full of coral again. Very, very happy with our efforts today. I think Reefzilla is looking spectacular and pretty nice. It's not full yet, we've got plenty of room for more, but it's looking pretty good. As you all know, we had a very particular aquascape of Reefzilla with 5 individual islands, making the formation of one sort of big island, but giving enough for all the fish to swim through. So I feel like last time was a bit of a step 1 of feeling out Reefzilla and aquascaping it properly, especially with corals and coral placement. This time I've sort of know exactly what does well and what sort of positions. Underneath these islands at the very front was always going to pose a unique challenge. Last time I tried to put smaller corals there, but it was very hard to sort of like make them look good or actually have them fill up the space. This time I've filled them up with 2 very large corals, as you can see. We've got the Duncan colony on the right and the Elegance coral on the left. This Elegance, this is the first time we've really had it, you know, have its own space and actually fill out a space. We got it just before we had the dramas with Reefzilla, so it never really opened up, and then we had to put it in the Red Sea. So it's awesome to see it looking so huge and beautiful. And the Duncan colonies never looked better. As you can see, between all the polyps, there's lots of new little babies coming up there. Now, the Duncan always had some dead pieces, and that was because it got stung at the shop before we actually bought it, so we got it a bit cheaper, which was nice. So it's actually wedged in with those dead pieces up the back there, and we've got a nice little zoa colony there that I've put there to cover the dead branches, so that will sort of tie it together with the rock work. Also, some special features on the Duncan is we've got a purple polyp plating Monty, say that 3 times fast, and then just behind it we've got a little red Monty that's a plater as well. And just at the back you can actually see the dead branches are actually got some new polyps on the Duncan as well. So it's really nice to see it looking so healthy after it looked so terrible and so full of vermitid snails in the Red Sea. Down the bottom here we do have a tiny little colony of jack-o'-lantern Leptoceras. So that was saved from Reefzilla before the crash, and there's only a tiny little piece left, and it's finally coming back. We've got some of the plain bird's nest with a bit of Monty twined in. So especially around the lower levels, I want to have some plating Monty and some bird's nest just to give it a bit of texture among some of the more LPS around the base. We've We've got a choc chip Monty there, a nice plater as well. So a light brown base with mint green polyps, so that's going to look special. Now I've fallen in love with this green bird's nest. It's really a stunner. Nice simple type bird's nest, but it's a bit unusual. It's sort of got more of a lime green skin and dark green polyps, which is quite unusual, but hopefully this one will look really, really nice once it grows out. Up here, mined bugs in the background. We've got our forest fire digitata. I split up the frag plugs there that were grown together. So a few pieces broke off, so we've glued them to the side. So this is all in the plan to sort of like keep making the colony bigger. So once this grows out in about 2 months or so, break off a few more frags, situate them around the side and have them grow and make the colony bigger. This is a nice fat Gorgonian frag. We've also got some little frags of Gorgonian on there as well. So this is a photosynthetic Gorgonian, so it's just the white with the brownish polyps. Now the little frags nearly died. That's what we sort of saved from the Red Sea. So hopefully in the new tank they'll come along pretty well. I'll get a bit of video of the polyps out on this Gorgonian because it really is quite nice. Okay, over here we've got a nice fluorescent green pocky. It is a little white in spots because it did get stung in the Red Sea. So we got this again, just as we were sort of getting out of quarantine period. So just before we could start introducing corals, and lo and behold, it still got stung anyway. I swear that Red Sea was like full of stingers. Over here, this is a bird of paradise, bird's nest. So I've tried to put this in more light because it gets a yellow skin in higher light and it seems to like not branch so densely. Or it could be the other way around, I'm not quite sure. We've got it on a highlight, trying to get it to colour up a bit more, but it's got some wicked blue polyps on it. It's really nice. Over here is an unknown acro. Not quite sure what type this is, but it has got nice blue tips and a sort of purplish base. When it's happy, it does have some nice green spotted polyps on the base there. Not sure if you can see them now. Next to that, we've got a nice purple Samacora. Really like that one. It's got some nice little feeder fan type worms on it, which are really pretty. And it hitchhiked on the base of a leather. Below that, we've got a little orange Samacora plater. Around the side here, we have a red Montipora plater, and also some more of that purple polyped plating Monty. So as you can see, my plan on all the edges is to get some nice plates happening. Really want to get some nice different coloured Monty plates and really have that growing on the side of all the islands, which will be nice. Down here by bugs, we've got a hammer that we saved all the way from the original Red Sea back in the day. We nearly lost it in the closing days of Reefzilla. I had it in the jar for a while to rehabilitate it. It's really only got 1 or 2 little heads left on it, but it's actually doing quite nicely in Reefzilla at the moment. We've got our nice Aussie gold torch here. I've got the flow off if you can't tell. It looks more like a weeping willow at the moment rather than a gold torch. We've got our nice rainbow pectinia there. Really love this piece. It's such a nice coral. Better than any Space Invader that I can think of. Again, we've got some of that plain bird's nest that we got such a big colony of. I swear on it, it does have a little bit of a lime green tinge happening in places. Some places are a little bit more pinky, so it'll be nice to see if it actually changes colour. Up the back there, we've got our little Dallas tower. So that was an old Monty that died in Reefzilla before. We've stuck the Dallas to the skeleton of that to give it a bit of height. And that's just going to be a nice little base for those to grow onto. Up the back again, you can see another cluster. That's the main colony of the bird's nest, the plain bird's nest. And In front of it, it's got a bit of a nice chalice. We had that chalice in Reefzilla. It sort of died off in the Red Sea, and that was only due to neglect, really. The hardest thing was the anemone. So the crisper anemone, I've learnt my lesson. I need gloves to handle this thing. It has a wicked sting. Doesn't hurt, but it definitely gives you a bit of a nasty rash afterwards. It took about 2 days for the clowns to find it again, and as you can see, they're loving life. They're not getting out of that anemone anytime soon. So it's great to see them so happy again. Up here we've got our frag rack from Anything Acrylic. What's really nice about this is it's got an extra tier that you can put on in the middle. So it's clear acrylic, but it's sort of got a fan-shaped sort of sides on it to give you another tier of frags that you can add on. And we've got quite a few interesting ones on here. We've got lots of Leptocerus, we've got a few big Monties there, a few little Monties, and a few frags there as well of Zoas. So just really trying to work out exactly where these are going to be placed and what gaps need to be filled. Technical issues aside, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, like, comment and subscribe.
Like, comment and subscribe.
Like, comment and subscribe. And as always, be excellent to each other and keep it salty, everyone. Bye for now.
See you guys.